Hi guys, it's Sam, and I am here today to talk to you about this Saturday's episode of Doctor Who, Into the Dalek. So if you guys haven't watched it, I recommend that you wait to watch this video until you watch the episode because it will be very spoiler filled. So this episode of Doctor Who saw the Doctor and Clara literally go into a Dalek. It was a very interesting episode to say the least. For me, it wasn't as entertaining as last week's episode. I thought some of the parts were a little bit boring, but that was just me. It was still very, very interesting. I also think that it was setting up a lot of things to come for the rest of the season. So first off, we finally got our glimpse of Danny Pink, who is to become one of the companions of the TARDIS, as it was revealed last year when they said he was being cast. So far, I really like Danny. I thought that whole scene between him and Clara, where he was agonizing over what he did not say to her when they were kind of like wanting to go out on a date. I thought that scene was really cute. I also think that he'll become a very interesting character. You can tell that his soldier past still has a very large effect on him, and he is still struggling with that. So I think that will definitely play out a lot in the episodes to come this season. Now, I thought the beginning was a little bit confusing, as I actually just read Melody's review on it, and she thought so as well. Which I'll link her blog post down below too, because it actually highlights a lot of the things I want to talk about in this video. I thought it was a little confusing. It was jumping around so fast, I wasn't really sure what was going on. I was like, whoa, it was like fast. It was like the past and then the future and then the present. I don't know. I was really confused for a while there. So a lot of this episode reminded me so much of the series 1 episode Dalek with Rose and 9 that it wasn't even funny. I mean, there were so many parallels. It was like ridiculous. Like from the door opening when they're talking about their patient, oh, you're a doctor. When he arrives at that base and they're saying, oh, you're a doctor, but you can help our patient, the door's open and he sees the Dalek there and it's saying doctor and he's looking. I mean, it was exactly like 9 when he was at Van Statten's underground bunker and they open the door and he sees the Dalek there. And then later, when the Doctor is basically wanting to kill the Dalek, he knows it's evil and it's no good, and he's just showing his hatred for the Daleks, and Clara slaps him and like kind of brings it back to reality and saying like, what are you saying? Why are you being so cruel and filled with hate like this? It reminded me exactly of 9 and Rose when 9 was about ready to shoot the Dalek, and Rose was like, whoa, who's the monster here? Why are you trying to shoot him? He's being innocent. He's just sitting here. You also have the same parallel of this Dalek appearing good, as well as the Dalek and gaining a sense of ethics and morals, the same as the Dalek in the episode Dalek, acquiring that same sense from the human DNA that was transferred to him when Rose touched it. It was just really, really interesting. I mean, there were so many parallels and so many things the same. I was trying to figure out if they did it on purpose or if they were literally just regurgitating an old episode, if that makes any sense. Like he's just sort of recycling the same type of storyline. I feel like it might be a little more important than it seems. I think it was more than just recycling a plot line. I think it must be playing out somehow in future episodes. I love the miniaturization thing. It reminded me of something out of Willy Wonka. I was laughing. I thought that was kind of cool though. I also noticed that they brought back the skeleton thing whenever Dalek shoots somebody with its beam. I remember that from 9 and 10's years. Whenever anybody would get shot with like a laser beam, their skeleton would show up. But they really didn't have that very much in Matt Smith's seasons, and I noticed they brought it back this season, and I loved the skeleton thing. I thought that was hilarious. The skeleton thing was hilarious. I also loved Clara's sass in this episode. She's definitely showing herself more as a strong companion, which I really, really like. I really like her asserting herself more about against the Doctor, such as slapping him and calling him to attention, like, why are you doing this? Why are you so filled with hate? I really like that about Clara. She's really standing up more as a companion, which I find interesting. And I really am liking the Doctor. He's definitely showing a darker side. We're definitely seeing more of a darker side to this Doctor, which is akin to some of the classic Who Doctors, and 9 to a certain degree. Like when he allowed Ross to die, I think 10 and 11 probably would have done something to prevent that, even though it looked like a lost cause, but he decided to use that to advantage to save them. And he didn't really show much remorse. Reminded me of 9, sort of when he allowed Cassandra to die and wasn't concerned for Mickey in the first episode when he was taken over by the nesting consciousness. And it makes sense because 9 was born from war. And if you think about it, when 11 regenerated, he was facing that battle on Trenzalore at the town of Christmas, and he was kind of in a way born from battle himself, so it makes sense that they would have the same type of character traits. I know it was totally callous of him when they end up in the Dalek's stomach with like the incinerated humans, and they're like, what, this is where Ross is? And he's like, yeah, this top layer is probably Ross if you want to pay your last respects, which it was totally callous, but I couldn't help but laugh. I laughed at that. And that moment between the Dalek and the Doctor when he is giving the Dalek his brain and his mind and his memories, and the Dalek is seeing all the beauty in the universe, but then he sees the Doctor's hatred, and the Doctor's having to face his own evil within himself, I guess, was really interesting. It was a painful scene for him. The look on his face as he realizes that no matter how much good he tries to do, a part of him will be filled with hate. And I think that was Clara's point at the end, was that, you know, you may not be a good man per se, but you're trying to be a good man. And that's what makes the difference between a bad person and a good person. You are trying to do good versus doing bad. The fact that you are trying to grow as a person is what makes the difference. And I love that moment between her and the Doctor when she told him that. Because I think that's something that the Doctor's always struggled with, is his own hatred for certain beings such as the Daleks, and his ability to manipulate people, and his power over people, and his ability to manipulate them and things like that. I think he's always struggled with that. But the fact that he recognizes it and is trying to do good instead of bad is what separates him from the Daleks. I just find it really interesting whenever the Doctor is forced to confront his own morality, and just to see it staring him in the face, because I think it's good for him to be reminded that, as I think he has a tendency to think of himself sort of as a god, like Ten did in The Waters of Mars. And I think it's good for him to be, and I think that's the purpose of the companion, is to force him to confront the fact that he is not, that he is a Time Lord, but he is not all powerful, and he makes mistakes, and it's not always for the good of everyone else. And I think that it is important for him to confront that, and I think that's what this episode did. It showed him how he still needs to improve, and how he still needs to work towards good and doing good and eradicating hatred, including his own hatred of the Daleks and his own prejudices. Oh, and even that's another parallel, was when the Dalek told him, "You would make a good Dalek." That was the exact same line from the episode Dalek with 9. The Dalek said the same thing to him. So there was lots of different parallels. And then, of course, we have Missy. Missy is back. Whoa, who is this woman? I was not expecting to see her again. I thought that they were going to drop that in the first episode, and it would be several episodes, perhaps not even until the end of the season until we saw her again. So to see her in this episode again blew my mind. I was not expecting that. And who is this woman? I know a lot of people are thinking that it could be somebody from Amy's Garden, from the episode The Girl Who Waited, but I don't really feel like that's where she's at. I feel like it's something totally different, and I really, really suspect that it is somehow related to Gallifrey in some way. I don't know. It's very intriguing. I'm liking this story arc so far, and I don't know. I'm just excited. I'm excited to see who this person is. And of course, we have next week's episode, Robin Hood, another period episode of the historical figure, which I'm excited to see. It's been a while since we've had a episode like that, I believe. I think, what, season 5 with Winston Churchill? That might have been the last one. Am I forgetting one? I'm not sure. Remind me in the comments down below if I am. But I'm excited to see it in a medieval setting. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait to watch it. As I mentioned in my videos before, I like the Middle Ages. I find them interesting. So I'm excited to see next week's episode. I think it'll be a good one. Oh, also a flub. I don't know if you guys noticed it. I know a lot of people that I've talked to have, when they were in like the Dalek sick, disintegrated humans, and then when they're entering the pipe and they're all clean and all of the nastiness is off of them, I was like, okay, how did you guys suddenly get clean again? It's very interesting. When did that happen? Overall, I thought the episode was pretty good. I didn't like it as much as the first episode of the season, but I think it's setting up a lot of different things, such as Clara and Danny Pink, the Doctor confronting his own morality, and how he views himself as a good man or a bad man, and of course, the whole Missy thing and who this person is. Obviously, this is going to become very important. Where is this place of heaven? What is this nonsense going on? Now, like I said, overall, I thought the episode was pretty decent. So let me know down in the comments what you guys thought of the episode, what you liked, what you didn't like, what you think is going to happen, what your theories are on who this Missy person is. And yeah, I'm excited to see, again, where the rest of the season goes. So until next time, guys, Alonzi!